That one sentence, that's the key. It unlocks one of the most painful, most misunderstood forms of psychological control out there. So today, we're going to expose the silent treatment, but not as just a bad mood or some communication breakdown. No, we're going to look at it for what it is, a deliberate strategic weapon. We're going to break down exactly how it works, why it causes such real biological pain, and, most importantly, how you can systematically dismantle its power.
First things first, we have to reframe how we see this. The silent treatment isn't passive. It's an active, aggressive move. It's designed to punish, to manipulate, and ultimately to control. It works by targeting one of our deepest, most primal human needs, the need for social connection. And it turns that very need into a weapon against us. It is the strategic withdrawal of contact, of recognition, of validation.
And it all starts right here. Look, this is not just somebody needing a little space. This is the calculated denial of your existence inside a shared reality. By refusing to engage, the operator weaponizes your fundamental need to belong. They create this void, this vacuum, and they know that human nature absolutely hates it. This withdrawal isn't just an emotional reaction. It is the opening move in a psychological power play, and it's designed to destabilize you from moment one.
The immediate impact, it's visceral. It's this sharp, crippling emotional pain that feels completely overwhelming. This isn't just feeling sad or ignored, it's an acute state of distress, this feeling of being completely erased. Your nervous system floods with cortisol, triggering a fight or flight response. You might feel that pit in your stomach, a racing heart, a sense of pure panic. That's your brain's social alarm system screaming that a vital connection has been severed, and it sees this as a genuine threat to your survival.
And as that silence drags on, that initial shockwave of distress, well, it hardens into this constant gnawing attachment anxiety. Communication, something that should just be a given in a relationship, is suddenly converted into a scarce, high-stakes resource. You become desperate for any sign of connection, any little breadcrumb of acknowledgement. This puts you in a state of hypervigilance, where you're constantly scanning the other person for clues, trying to solve this unspoken problem. Your peace of mind is literally being held hostage.
Now, this constant state of anxiety, it places a huge burden on your mind. Your brain just goes into overdrive, trying to solve the riddle. Why are they silent? What did I do? What is it they want from me? This obsessive loop of questioning and analysis and self-blame, it creates a massive cognitive load. It's just mentally exhausting. It drains your resources, making it hard to focus on work, on other people, on anything else. You are completely trapped in a mental puzzle that has no clear rules and no defined solution.
And that brings us to the crucial mechanism at play here, strategic ambiguity. This isn't just bad communication, it's intentionally unclear. The operator doesn't tell you what the problem is or what they want. They force you to guess. And this ambiguity, well, that's the engine of paralysis. It makes you feel helpless and desperate because you're trying to solve an equation where all the variables are hidden. It forces you into this position of trial and error, often leading you to apologize for things you didn't even do just to make the painful silence stop.
Okay, so we understand the devastating impact it has. Now let's pull back the curtain and really look at the engine that drives this whole system of control. Because this isn't random emotional chaos. It is a predictable, repeatable process designed to get one specific thing: your compliance.
The core engine is what we call relational exclusion. This whole tactic hijacks one of our most ancient and powerful fears: ostracism. For our evolutionary ancestors, being cast out from the tribe was a literal death sentence. So our brains are hardwired to treat social exclusion as a life or death threat. Relational exclusion is just a modern interpersonal version of that ancient threat. It simulates being ostracized within a key relationship, and that triggers a primal panic that compels us to do almost anything to get back in.
And this fear is exploited through a really predictable four-step loop. Step 1 is initiation. You do something they don't like, and they strategically withdraw. Step 2 is escalation. They keep up the silence, deliberately cranking up your anxiety and your cognitive load until you just hit a breaking point. Then, step 3, reinforcement. The silence is broken only when you accommodate them. When you apologize, you give in, you change your behavior. And finally, step 4, the payoff. The operator gets what they want, coercive compliance, and you get a temporary hit of relief from the pain. This entire loop is a conditioning mechanism, basically training you to comply faster the next time it happens.
And right here, this is the fundamental disconnect that makes this whole thing so insidious. For the person giving the silent treatment, their goal is cold and strategic. They want to force you to comply.
But for you, the person receiving it, the experience isn't strategic at all. It's a biological reality. You are experiencing real, measurable pain. And this imbalance is why it's so easy to feel like you're overreacting or being too sensitive, when in fact, your brain is just doing exactly what it's designed to do when it perceives a mortal threat.
The science behind that pain is absolutely fascinating. Neuroscientists have used fMRI scans to watch the brain while someone is being ostracized. And what they found is that it activates the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, the DACC. Now, why does that matter? Because that's the exact same part of the brain that registers the distress of physical pain. So when you say being ignored hurts, you're not being metaphorical. Your brain is processing social rejection with the very same neural circuitry it uses for physical injury. Here's the leverage point. The operator might not know the neuroscience, but they intuitively know that this withdrawal causes you profound pain.
This biological reality is then cranked up to 11 by two powerful psychological principles. First, you've got intermittent reinforcement. By breaking the silence unpredictably, the operator puts you on a reward schedule that's a lot like a slot machine. You never know when you'll get the reward of their attention, so you keep trying, you keep pulling the lever, making that compliant behavior incredibly addictive and really hard to stop. Second, there's the ambiguity advantage, which leverages our natural need for closure. We hate unresolved situations, so we're driven to find a reason for the silence. And we often end up blaming ourselves just to make sense of the chaos. And that's where the trap closes, when you try to fill their silence with your own guilt.
All right, so we've deconstructed the weapon and its mechanics. Now we shift from analysis to action. This section is all about disarming the silent treatment and reclaiming your autonomy with a set of precise countermeasures. We are moving from being the target to being the strategist.
This is the essential question, isn't it? That feeling of helplessness is so central to the silent treatment's power. The answer isn't to try and play their game better. It's to refuse to play the game at all. Reclaiming control means fundamentally changing your response, from chasing them for a connection to anchoring yourself in your own stability. This is the moment control shifts, when you make your next action dependent on your own values, not on their approval.
So here it is, the three-step protocol. Step 1, reappraise. You have to see the tactic for exactly what it is. Step 2, decouple. You have to break that chase and pursue dynamic. And step 3, deploy a boundary. You calmly and firmly state your position, shifting the responsibility right back where it belongs. Let's break each of those down.
This first step, this is the most critical internal shift you can possibly make. When the silence starts, instead of that automatic, "What did I do wrong?" you have to consciously label the behavior. Tell yourself, this is the silent treatment. This is a control tactic. This is relational exclusion. The moment you name it, you strip it of its emotional power. It stops being a reflection of your worth and it becomes what it is, a predictable, observable maneuver. This is called cognitive reappraisal, and it is your first and most powerful line of defense.
And this is the tool for step 3, deploying your boundary. Once you've labeled a behavior and you've refused to chase, you state this calmly and clearly, just one time. This statement is so powerful because it does 3 things all at once. First, it shows you will not participate in the silent game. Second, it defines the conditions for coming back together, respectful communication. And third, and this is the most important part, it transfers the responsibility for fixing the communication break back to the person who started it. You are no longer the one auditioning for their approval.
Now, following the protocol is the tactical response. But the long-term strategic goal here is to build immunity. It's about cultivating an internal state where this tactic just can't find a foothold anymore, where it just glances right off because your sense of self is no longer up for negotiation.
This is the core belief you have to internalize. The silent treatment only works if the operator can make you believe that your value, your worthiness of love and connection is conditional on their approval. When you fully accept that your self-worth is inherent and it's non-negotiable, their withdrawal of approval just loses all of its leverage. It might still be unpleasant, sure, but it stops being a fundamental threat to your identity.
So, this is what mastery actually looks like. It isn't about winning an argument or forcing the other person to talk. It's about achieving a state of internal emotional regulation. It's when your peace is not dependent on their mood. It's the realization that their silence is now their problem to manage, not a crisis for you to solve. That is true emotional autonomy. That's when you have successfully disarmed this weapon for good.
And so we end right where we began. But now, this sentence isn't just a hook, it's a strategic insight you have fully mastered. The silent treatment system leverages relational exclusion to establish coercive compliance.
It works through the Withdrawal-Compliance Feedback Loop, which exploits the very real biological pain of ostracism and the addictive nature of intermittent reinforcement to enforce obedience. The strategic countermeasure requires you to deploy the Autonomy Reversal Protocol, using cognitive reappraisal to label the tactic and boundary statements to neutralize the threat. This is how you reclaim your emotional self-regulation. You now understand that the void of silence, it has no inherent power. Its power comes only from the fear, the doubt, and the self-blame that you pour into it. By refusing to fill that silence, you render it empty and powerless.